So let me say a few words about myself. My name is Jari Porras. I'm a professor at the LUT University. The slides here are using the LUT or LUT University's slide deck as such, but I'm also having a position in the Aalto University and in the University of Huddersfield in the UK as a visiting professor, mainly because of these kind of green and sustainable computing topics as such. But let me start with the few things of my past. I'm not a software engineer as such. Although I have been enjoying a lot of these talks over here concerning all the technical things and so on, but I will challenge you a bit later on those things. The important part over here is kind of what I want to show is my research path and interests that have kind of changed during the years. When I was doing my PhD studies and a bit after that, I was basically working on parallel computing, parallel and distributed computing. And in parallel computing, the goal is to make things run as fast as possible. So taking a second away of certain things while using 100 processors and how to do that kind of a thing was the key thing. And that kind of resembles of today, what I'm talking of, this kind of green coding or sustainable software and so on. So in green coding or energy efficient coding, the same thing. We want to make something as small as possible. It's not now time. It's now considering how we can really reduce the energy. Okay, I might not have the answers for you to that because that particular topic, green coding, is just about to emerge, and there is some research, and I will be. My topic is more about the academic perception and some experiences concerning that, and our next speaker, Ben, will then give you some hands-on experience how to calculate things. I'm mainly talking now what has been there and how we see as academics this particular field and so on. Two other things here in my background I want to say is that the Finland was 2021 the Finnish Ministry of Transportation and Communications published the first ever strategy for ICT sector. It was a climate and environmental strategy of the ICT sector with the idea of considering the climate impacts of our sector to the climate. And it started to work 2019, around the time when the COVID started, and then we were working remotely, and the actual strategy was published 3 years back, around 3 years back now, and there has happened a lot of things after that, and I believe that now it's time to look at the next kind of get a summary what has happened in this field and maybe update the strategy as such. I was one of the university representatives in that particular working group. The other thing that I want to mention is that there is this kind of Sustainability Design Alliance or working group in which I'm together with some international researchers. If you are looking at any scientific papers on this topic, most of those people are in this particular alliance. And if thinking of software engineering, we kind of have this, what it is called? It's Karlskrona Manifesto for Sustainable Software that has similar kind of rules like Agile Manifesto has for agile software development, but for energy efficient coding as such. And then the third thing is that currently I'm running a European Erasmus Mundus Master's Program, SE4GD, that stands for Software Engineers for Green Deal. Green Deal itself is a European act for trying to make things better or considering the climate as such. So, on my talk. Sorry, this is a bit of academic as such. showing the agenda and so on. But I will be starting with motivating why we are doing this kind of things. Then I'm having two things that I want to present as kind of, it's not hands-on, but it's kind of an experiment what I wanted to do, going a bit to some uncomfortability zone as such, looking at the clean coding, what has been done in that field, and then also some academic experience that we were doing on that thing, and then some final thoughts for you. So, my question, yesterday when I was listening to the other presentations, I already had my presentation ready, but then I decided that, hey, I need to change this a bit, maybe asking some questions. Why are we doing these kind of things, or why we all should be doing all these things? And I have three reasons. Okay, the first one is, of course, this is the only thing that we have. We don't have planet B at the moment. We need to take care of this. Oh, it doesn't show the picture well. It says Blue Marble, and this is the first ever picture taken from planet Earth, 1972, by one of the Apollo flights. And this is the only thing that we really have. We need to take care of this thing, and I believe at the moment that we are not taking care of it. This is the second thing. 2013, LUT decided to be the first university in Finland to take the sustainable development as the goal of all our actions, in education, in all the research. And I have to say that I really didn't know what we are up to. All those things, what they were saying in the strategy were complete strange things for me. They were talking about waste and water and so on, and that didn't resemble at all to me. And then I started looking that, hey, what can we software engineers or IT people really do on this topic? How can we contribute? And the third one, this is more this day, and this goes to all the companies basically, is that some years back I was thinking that if there would be a similar kind of a regulation like we had the privacy regulation, GDPR, some years ago, that there is a huge fines if you are not doing this and that. And I was thinking that if we would get a similar kind of a thing for sustainability or for these climate things, that would be good. And now we do have that. We have the CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, that basically asks all the companies to report their carbon emissions. Okay, it doesn't give any or say that there is any penalties because we don't have any baseline where you need to be. But still, every company needs to report all their carbon emissions. And now you are thinking that, hey, this doesn't really consider the software companies. Yes, it does. If you fit into those categories that will be there this year, the biggest companies need to already report all the carbon emissions. And that does not only contain the scope 1 and scope 2, basically the facilities and the energy used, but also scope 3, which means that all the services what we are using and all the services what we are providing. So we need to be able to calculate somehow what are the CO2 emissions. I have to say that I have been really pleased that quite many companies have actually been doing this for a long time. I took here a couple of examples. Nokia has a separate tab in their web pages that says sustainability. And if you go there and look what's under that, you find out that there is some sustainability report or ESG report. And soon you will be seeing those CSRD reports over there. Elisa has similar kind of a sustainability. Then I also took Digia. Digia is the sponsor of this event, so I also took that. They have a little bit different word, and unfortunately this is Finnish. It basically is responsibility. There are different names for this sustainability. Some are calling that responsibility, some are calling that sustainability as such. But my question here is that who of you has considered sustainability while you have been developing software? Few hands up. That is really good. And I would say that's a good start. Let me just open up a few words before I go to the actual things that I have to say. You probably have heard of these terms: sustainable development, sustainability, green. Okay, this particular session is supposed to be green coding, green computing. Okay, there is computing, coding, software, etc. But if you are adding those sustainable things there, the sustainable development was defined by this so-called Brundtland report, 1987. That was a UN working group that was looking at how are we going to evolve. Imagine 1987, when we were already thinking of that what needs to be done. And of course, in that particular definition, it's saying that we have certain things what we are doing these days. What is happening? Now there is some interference somewhere. Hopefully you can hear me. Basically, in sustainable development, the idea is that we have certain resources now, we are using those, and we should take the future generations into considerations. Okay, that was pretty general, but they defined in that particular place those three different dimensions: ecological, economic, and social dimensions as such. I will say a few words in the next slide before getting to the actual stuff. Sustainability itself is a kind of a general term. You can use that for basically anything. Sustainability itself is kind of ability to or capability of endure, keeping on a certain level. It can be, if thinking of the economic ways, or let's think about this conference. Sustainability of this conference could mean that we can have this year after year after year, and providing some inputs that way. So basically that's very general. And then when we are talking of green, we are usually looking at the term that is referring into this resource usage, something that is efficient. Energy efficient, resource efficient, workforce efficient. Basically, you can also use green over there, but in our kind of a talk, when we are referring to green something, green software, green coding, we are meaning that we are trying to make it energy efficient. Very quickly, this 5 dimensions of sustainability. Okay, the 3 first ones. The ecological, economic, and social, they were defined in that Brundtland's report as such, and those are usually referred when we are talking of sustainability. The Karlskrona group, or the Sustainability Design Alliance group, we have been using actually 5 different dimensions. 4th dimension is individual or human sustainability, meaning that if social is more or less kind of social as a whole, what is the impact? Then with the individual, we can think that what is the impact for an individual as such, as a worker in a company, as a citizen of the country as such. And then something that is and should be interesting in this particular event is that we are also thinking of this kind of a technical sustainability, that whenever we are doing some software or any kind of a system or service, how are we maintaining that? How sustainable we can have that? And we can think that, and that is definitely linked with if thinking of the energy usage, we can link that to the ecological or environmental dimension as such. All right, let's start looking at the IT sector. I'm starting from the IT sector and going into the software sector later on. So we have aviation versus IT. What's in common in these two? What? Connecting, yes. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for some sustainability thing. Pardon me? High energy use and yes, this is already in in the Green Deal, basically the emissions of these both fields are approximately the same. And the IT sector is growing like hell. Even though that the energy efficiencies of different networks are coming down. For example, Google said already years back that now they are carbon neutral. And still the energy usage has increased past 5 years like 200%. So even though that you say that you are carbon neutral doesn't mean that you are using less energy. You are just using it different ways. And because we are consuming much more. Quite many of you, how many of you have been kind of blamed that, hey, you are flying here? Quite many of you actually flew here, but been said that you should not be flying. Quite many, I guess. How many of you have been blamed that you should not look Netflix? Okay, I know that some of you have. Maybe if I would be a teenager, the teenager's mother would probably blame that don't look so much Netflix. But if thinking of these two sectors, they are the same. We have the same impact to the climate as the aviation sector. This is one of my favorite quotes that I want to give, and that kind of starts my talk of the software part or the IT part is that like the performance, reliability and security, sustainability does not just happen. We need to plan. We need to be able to aware and we need to take that into account whatever we are doing. It was nice to listen to those presentations on the previous days here. One example comes to my mind is this ChatGPT clock. And thinking of the energy usage of that, if generating, you know that the ChatGPT, whenever you are using AI, you are really using a lot of energy. And think about scaling that with thousands of those clocks around the world. Okay, now I don't know how the clock is working and what is behind there. But the idea is that you are really increasing a lot of energy usage by using that. Then there was other question that, actually quite many tools that are presented here that, hey, this is nice to the developers. Now it's easy to do this one, and now this is already synced to another machine. I start thinking that, okay, how much energy does that make that you are syncing? One single packet over there doesn't necessarily take too much, but when you are scaling that up with several millions of people, then of course the energy usage is increasing. So whatever we do, we should always also think about not only the end users, not only the developers, but behind there we should think how and where are we using the energy for. This is one. It still doesn't show the bottom line of that slide, but the idea here is that actually if thinking of these services what we are using, we normally see only this end, the end user end, the device what you are using the service for. And quite many talks here already said that, hey, we are moving things to the cloud, so we are really energy efficient as such. But you have to remember that there is the end device, you can use the mobiles, the desktops, whatever devices you have the network in between, and then you have the computing somewhere. And just remember that the cloud is just somebody else's computer that is running your computations. And if thinking of these things, when we are thinking of the energy usage, we should be thinking all of these parts. And Ben will have an example of that later on in his talk. Okay, in Finland, I just have a couple of slides of this climate strategy that was published 2021. There was a vision that in this Finnish ministry that Finland wants to be a leader in the use and development of this ecologically sustainable ICT solutions. And then, of course, getting the awareness and the knowledge and then start doing things like that. I could say a few words about, and then probably if there is any questions later on, I can say what happened after this. What happened after this strategy was published 3 years ago. I don't be going into that, but just showing you that they actually, in this strategy, there were 6 sectors that were defined. What and where ICT can help in saving energy, or where should we look at? ICT infrastructures is one, and I have to say that after this strategy was published, there has been a lot of things happening. For example, the use of the heat provided from data centers, how to use that in the benefit of the local residence areas, etc. So that has taken a lot of big steps as such. But then there is the second part, the climate and environmental friendliness of the data economy, and this basically, behind that word data economy, is basically software and services. First looking at considering the software and service design and development, how much energy we are using for that. There is a special attention to the energy aspects in software and service procurement. You have to admit that if there is some procurement process and the customer will ask that, hey, you need to fill this and that kind of energy efficiency, then you would probably need to answer to that. If it's not there, then you are not answering to that particular question. So that is one, and then there is the environmental benefits and of these particular ICT solutions as such. And then there was 4 other parts that I won't be going. Now I start looking at the software part and the academic perception into this. And although I think you have started hearing this talk about green IT, green software, or sustainable software for the last few years, it has been around for years. One of the first articles that I found related to this IT sector and energy usage was already from 2002. Actually, there is even older articles, but still 2002, Lawrence Hilty was publishing this kind of a sustainable development and information technology and environmental impact assessment. That's one of the first papers that start talking about these things. And so I decided to do a literature review that, hey, what has been done in the area of green coding, green programming? What can I find from there? Okay, yesterday we had a nice talk of this tool, AI tool, Elicit, that should make things easier, because when I was doing my literature review, I just went one database and found 1,870 articles, and then went through all of those to see what's there. Okay, quite many of those were not really related, because if you have a search query that has green programming and coding, you get a lot of stuff. But actually, I also tried the Elicit tool, AI tool, yesterday evening, and I got this kind of a summary of the 8 most important papers, and just noticed here that these papers are all from 2009, 2010. I did some experiments that this is exactly the same search query that I put into the database and to the Elicit to find out things, and basically it found this. Okay, I still don't know how to use it. I tried it for a couple of hours, tried different kinds of search queries, tried to find my own papers. Didn't find a couple of those, but was looking at how to best use that particular tool to make these things. Because if you are doing these academic literature reviews, those are really require a lot of work. Just like I said, I found 1,870 articles in the Web of Science database that basically combines articles from different locations. And I selected, based on the title, 78, and then I read the abstract, and 58 was in my final set of papers, and I started doing some categorization that, hey, what kind of things in green coding they have been really focusing on. And here is a couple of examples of those articles, like challenges in development of green and sustainable software for software multi-sourcing vendors. These are a couple of these kind of things. There is software lifecycle things. I tried to select the newer papers from 2000. Okay, 2016 is rather old, but actually 2018 is kind of continuation of that particular work. And then there is a couple of others. There has been a lot of work, for example, ranking programming languages by energy efficiency. And when I actually did this categorization of those things, if thinking of the whole set of papers, I looked at this devices, network, and cloud, or under the cloud there was edge and then fog, always kind of the backend kind of stuff. I had a bunch of papers over here, but then there was what I was really interested in, that how are the papers looking at software engineering as a process, kind of the organizational level as well as the software, what kind of things you can find from there. There are some keywords over here. I have a couple of slides that are opening up a bit of those things, but I just want to emphasize here, this is not in any of those slides, but in one of the papers there was this kind of a table that was saying that my applications have requirements about energy usage. I was asking you in the beginning that how many of you have been, okay, I asked about sustainability, but I actually meant energy efficiency. And if looking at the requirements, mobile environment, surprise, surprise, is really a focus there, because mobile environments are usually pretty restricted environments where you need to do your work and you need to kind of consider that. Whereas if you go, actually I'm surprised that the embedded is rather low here, and data center is the lowest one of these. But 3 slides of the actual results. The first level is on organizational level, and I have a couple of, actually the same author has been writing these papers. The first one was 2016 paper, was looking at developing those green and sustainable software and what kind of success factors there are for the vendors. And there is a table of the success factors that is given here. And they listed those that for example, green software design and efficient coding is one, etc., and so on. But they did another survey or another paper that actually has a literature-based part looking for challenges. That's the topmost figure. And then the middle figure is they made also a survey for more than 100 companies of how they see the challenges of the green and sustainable software development, and they basically used the elements that they found from the literature to ask that how important do the companies see these particular things on that. This only shows that why companies doesn't necessarily yet do these things as such, but I won't be going into those results so much. The other area of papers was on kind of software engineering on these processes. There is this George's paper of software development lifecycle for energy efficiency that actually is also a systematic literature review, and it shows the upper picture. They have categorized a lot of things, tools, etc., that can be used for energy efficient coding as such. So if you want to read one paper, this is a good paper for that particular thing. And then the other paper sustainability in agile software development, that is also the process. And this particular team was having some practitioners and seeing that which one of the places in a Scrum agile approach the sustainability or the green or energy efficiency should be taken into account. And those green bullets are the ones that were possible by the companies to consider the energy efficiency. Out of these, they emphasized actually that the interface between the product owner and the stakeholders is really important. The product backlog is important because if you can then prioritize those things that save energy is one, and then I think the sprint backlog was one thing that they were emphasizing. And then when going into the coding level, there was several categories in my data, but I selected a couple of papers. This as an examples. The first paper is on the impact of code smells on the energy consumption of mobile applications. Okay, once again, pretty kind of narrow environment. You are talking about mobile applications, but they were looking at different code smells on a set of Android projects and finding out that which one of those code smells really affect to which kind of methods or functions what they have over there as such. The picture is just nice, but doesn't really have a content. The other one, the Pereira's paper of ranking programming languages on energy efficiency. You can see the bottom level here. This has been done by quite many groups, these kind of things that they have been looking at how much energy different programming languages on the same topic are using, how much time, which one of those are time consuming and which are not, and then how much space do they need. Okay, once again, different developers and different companies like different kinds of environments, and then somebody was saying that there is every week a new JavaScript approach. So really don't know too much about that, but I just know that somebody has been doing this kind of energy efficiency calculations, that which one of the codes are best. So basically outcome of this first part is that if you want to do the green coding or energy efficient coding, it's a commitment. You need time for that, and I guess that also it's not only a commitment from the developer, but it also needs a commitment from the top layers. Methods and processes are still developing, thinking of customization, etc. here, and then metrics and measurements are needed, and then none of these papers really focused on any tools. Tools are missing. They're probably not completely missing, and as such, we actually made another experiment. We wanted to create a green coding course for our university, and we had this impact exchange project together with some Malaysian friends, and we actually had a hackathon to create this kind of a course. And then we tested that for a 2-day hackathon, that what we got out. So basically the students were asked to, first of all, there is this kind of a challenge level. First and the last bullet over here is focusing on that. We can select any SDG or sustainability challenge, what we want to look at. And then the middle 3 ones are mostly the implementation of the solution for the challenge and what can we do over there. And the students basically selected different front-end, back-end technologies. We required that, hey, there needs to be mobile web and cloud deployment of those things, so that we can figure out that, hey, how can we is there any green development tools that help us to do these things, and how would they, after doing these things, how would they measure, and how good are those measures or metrics that they can use from those tools. And once again, a nice picture over here of different kind of tools. Sorry, I don't have the. If you go to codecamp.fi, that's our hackathon platform or wiki. Over there, the Impact Exchange, under the Impact Exchange hack, you can find all the material what the students did, and they basically evaluated. They did in the hackathon. They've made a solution by using the technologies that they selected, and then they tested some of these tools that they found for how to measure the benefits of doing things over there. And there are different levels over here. For example, on a design level, there is certain things. On a coding level, there are certain tools. Measuring, there is certain measuring tools. Ben will be describing you one. Analysis tools, and mostly these analysis tools are like the Aalto Green Page Analyzer and Beacon, etc. They are kind of looking for the websites and so on. And then of course there are also some dashboards that provide you some information of what you have been doing. But if I wrap up this part is that there are many tools, and if I'm thinking of the software as such, there is two things into which you use energy. One is computing or doing your calculations. The other one is transferring data. The transferring data is pretty easy to capture, whereas measuring the computation is much more difficult. And there has been some attempts to create measuring frameworks, hardware, software types of approaches. There is a couple of papers given here. Some are already more than 10 years old, showing some approaches. And the last figure over there is of our Midvidi metrics for the Green Digitalization project together with the Turku University. And this is the measuring environment Turku, where they aim to measure both front-end and back-end energy consumptions. But there is not a general tool as such to do those things. Some final thoughts from me. The software, first of all, we need to take our responsibility. We need to think about that. There is a lot of research done on how to consider energy efficiency or sustainability in requirements. I didn't want to bring it here. There is that kind of a literature. I wanted to focus mostly on the green coding part. I would say that these metrics and measurements still need to be developed, and more and more I have seen this thing. I'm happy if the company who is doing a product can guarantee that the next version of the product doesn't use any more energy than the previous one. Of course, you need to be able to measure that thing, but you should be able to do things always a bit better than the previous way, not always so that the size of the program is increasing. There is actually a lot of research concerning the term sufficiency. What is sufficient in sense of computing and UI, etc. And I would say that the energy efficiency or sustainability, if thinking on a larger perspective, should be considered as any kind of any quality attribute. And just want to bring here 3 articles or papers or books that I can recommend reading. First one is by my good colleagues Patricia Lago and Birgit Pensenslatter, is this kind of a paper that framing sustainability as a property of software quality. The second one is the Janne's. Janne was a speaker here last year talking about the green coding and Janne's book on green code. Janne is already also here today. This is a really nice, I would say, higher level thing, but really gives some kind of a patterns and approaches how you can improve the energy efficiency as such. And then there is a book. This is already a couple of years back, but there is Software Sustainability that gives a wider perspective of software sustainability as such. I really recommend looking for all these things. And for example, the Green Code book can be found for free from Exove pages. Final thing, this is what I have been discussing with companies a lot, that I have been giving some guidelines as such, and I just wanted to take these, even though that these are not exactly to the green coding. First of all, company needs to have values. You need to really appreciate that this is the sustainability. This is the energy efficiency what we want to achieve. The second one is you need to talk through to different people what does it mean. So that it doesn't happen like me when the LUT was announcing the new strategy. I had no idea what those things mean. It took me 2 years to go through that hey, this is what it means to me and this is how I can contribute. Okay, awareness, understanding and interest. It doesn't have to start from the management. Senior developers who have good ideas, you know what is the good ways of doing things. I don't think this is a rocket science. Anyway, if you are doing a quality code, that should also be energy efficient as such. And then finally is developing those processes that somehow take the sustainability and energy efficiency into account. That's it. If it's there, if you really make that as a requirement, then you start looking at it. All right, now I went pretty long, but I was saying that I have a South Karelian wife, so I don't get to talk too much back at home because she's talking all the time. So I usually use all my possibilities of talking when there is somebody to listening to me. Thank you.